I just want to start by saying I know this was years ago, but my heart absolutely broke at the testimony that was shared in that clip. So I am continuing to send condolences because I know that those things don't leave us, even though time has sort of eclipsed. And so, talk with us a little bit about how you transferred from experiencing that tragedy, you and your beloved, how you all transitioned from experiencing that tragedy into this sort of advocacy, and where the realization that the very powerful role, potential role that Black men play in this process had been unrealized and unnurtured.
Yeah, so so the loss of the twins happened in 2017. And in 2020, me and Kyra, we hosted a couple of online forums that discussed midwives and doulas, and we just taught a lot of Black women, a lot of which went on to seek doulas and even use Kyra for their doulas on their pregnancy. So I really noticed back then that it was very nuanced of a conversation and topic. And a lot of people really didn't know what a doula was.
Yeah.
Even my partner, when we had my daughter in 2020, she was apprehensive to a having a doula present for that. And I ended up using Kyra in a virtual setting of what, she came in on a group chat and helped her understand some of the medications and some of the terminology and some of the different things that were going on in labor delivery room. So we fast forward to present day. I think I was just watching something on TV and it was like, man, like this is starting to be, it's been a problem, but it's starting to really become a problem, right? We look at Missouri in the year 2022, we lost 467 infants before the age of 1.
Jesus.
And that's a grade D according to the March of Dimes report card, and that's enough infants to fill 15 kindergarten classrooms.
Oh my
So it was
God.
just something I'm like, all right, I know how Cowrie helped me in my journey with Carrielle. Just reached out to her, hey, can we put this together for Black men within our Dear Fathers community? And just like anything else we've done to Dear Fathers, we created something based off of need and trauma that we're seeing within the community, and Black men are showing up well over and beyond any expectation, and really taking this course very, very seriously and
Wow.
really engaging in the information.
This is amazing. I remember when we first had our first child, almost 18 years ago. One of the things that my husband said, our firstborn was the first infant my husband had ever held, right? And so the fear, and so I remember when we got home from the birthing center, he was like scurrying all around the house. Let me fix this. Let me do that. Because he had energy that he wanted to contribute, but holding the baby was a new thing. And like, just because, and I'd been raised, I didn't play with a whole lot of dolls, but I knew what it was. There was a different expectation of what my comfortability would be than with his. And one of the things he said after the very first several months of just emotional upheaval, because you know what it is, you bring home a new baby and or deal with all of the complications from the pregnancy process. He's like, I wish there had been something for me as a Black man, because you had your sister friends. They came over, they surrounded you. Some of them was singing with you. Y'all was humming Negro spirituals together, but nobody was there for me. Like, and then
Yeah.
when you said, or when that part of the clip where it talks about how for a lot of men, going out to the parking lot, smoking cigars, have a drink, like that's sort of that ritual, but that ritual is not connected to the birthing process. So talk to us about because the Dads to Doulas program is a part of the Dear Fathers platform. Let's break down what the Dear Fathers platform is, because I know the audience is taking notes even as you're speaking.
Yeah, so Dear Fathers was birthed out of Lamar Johnson and Jesse Alex. They were, they were best friends, and they were just sitting down talking about the fact that their fathers weren't present in their lives. And they
Mm.
talked about not knowing 50% of who they are, and not knowing how to do those stereotypical things like change a tire and make a adequate barbecue fire and all these kind of things. And that's how the platform was birthed, right? So that was in September of 2019.
Wow.
One of my favorite quotes from Hugh P. Newton is, "I do not expect the white media to create positive Black images."
Wait,
Right?
wait, wait. Hold on. You got say that one more time.
One
Say
of
that.
my favorite quotes from Huey P.
Ooh.
Newton is, "I do not expect the white media to create positive Black images."
Mm.
And it was all God's timing. So Dear Fathers is born right before the pandemic, hits us. And this is a time where people are consuming more content and more, internet things, Instagrams, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So this was giving a great story, great narrative to what Black fatherhood truly looks like. The CDC tells us that the Black man is more present as a father than any other race,
Yeah.
but media will not tell you that. Their fathers is telling you that.
Mm,
So outside of us having storytelling series where we have, your everyday Black man telling the story about his father and his life or his journey as a father. And again, this is stories from all angles. So that's men that are co-parenting or the currently dealing with custody battles, to men that are seeing their children every day and have a healthy relationship with the mothers and everything in between, because we all have to be able to look at a shared experience and understand that this is not just us by ourselves and whatever it is we're dealing with. We also have a podcast component that features celebrity fathers. So we've had guests on such as Shaquille O'Neal, Master P, Mookie Betts, Bradley Beal. So a plethora of athletes and entertainers that are here strictly for the fact of telling, the reason why they go shoot baskets at 4 o'clock in the morning is because of their families, because of those children and
huh.
their mother. So, you really get to see men in a whole different light versus seeing them on the court or on the movie screen. And that's when we started Straight Mental in 2020. And really, that was birthed knowing that the pandemic was going to affect the Black and Brown communities more
Yep.
than anyone else. And
Yep.
then we noticed that the conversations around mental health were starting to become normalized, where people were actually on the internet talking about their therapists and what that looks like for them and sharing information. And when we created it, it was myself hosting, and I had two different therapists on for each session that had different areas of emphasis and expertise. And
Mm,
it gave me an opportunity to not only experience what therapy looked like or could look like for them, but it
right.
also helped them to understand that there are therapists that look like them, that can understand them from a cultural component, and that they don't have to go in. We have this white coat kind of syndrome, and
Mm,
we have an aversion to that. But now you have someone that looks just like you, that talks just like you, but can give you a very clinical, assessment of what it is you're dealing with, and give you a healthy response to those things that you are going through.
mm. What's been the response? Because my heart is all a pitter patter. The whole note. I'm like, how can we get this in Brooklyn? Can we get this in the Bronx? I know East New York. What's been the reaction and the response from the community broadly and from the Black men in the community more specifically?
It's really been overwhelming, like, and I
Wow.
can't I can't emphasize overwhelming enough. um like I said before, we've learned that if you give Black men tools and a platform to better themselves, they're
Mm,
thirsty for it. We're looking for it. There's not a lot that helps support us in being better men, being better fathers, and being better community members. So right now we're gearing up for our informational for the second cohort. The information was next Tuesday, January 14th. We have maybe 10 more slots left. We're probably gonna have to push this out to two classes versus just the
wow.
one that we were looking at. So we've had over 300 inquiries about that next cohort that will begin in February. The response has been much more than what we could even anticipate. Like, I've been literally in the gym and had a brother come up to me and be like, "Hey man, like, are you Brad? You got dads and doulas?" One of my fraternity brothers, he's created a group chat and he shares the information with us every week after he leaves class. I want to sign up for the next one. How do I do that? So, it's something that's never existed for us that we have been able to really see, at least I know of. So
Right.
for something to be culturally affirming for us,
Yeah.
people are really chomping at the bit.
Has there been any elevation of stigma? Like, well, I don't need to be in no birthing room. I'm imagining like early 1800s. Get that man out the room. Like like that sort of approach to that's woman's work. This is man's work. I don't know where that voice came from. I do a lot of voices, but that one just jumped on up. But like, has there been any reference to stigma or any pushback on the idea that this isn't where men are quote unquote supposed to be?
No, I would like to
Mm,
think and like to say that we're past those points.
come on.
A lot of those gender norms just really don't exist, especially in the
Right.
world that we live in. Everyone's
Right.
busy. So if I can get to the baby and change a diaper or make a bottle or do whatever the case is, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what we're seeing for the men that are stepping in. They want to be a part of the process. So they don't want to be ostracized to the side or, pushed away and only
Right.
come in when, everything's done. Like, no, these guys want to be there from the beginning to the end.
I'm so glad earlier you referenced that report that talked about the fact that of the men who are present in their children's lives, black men are present more than any other group. And I feel like that's sort of, I know we have this stigma, and I'm so glad you also referenced the Huey Newton quote, which I had to write down. I know we've got this stigma, this notion that, absentee fathers are defined by black men, which is absolutely not the case. But this idea that not only should you be present as a father, but you should be present as an advocate for your partner's physical well-being, which will redound to the physical well-being of this child. That is an expansion even beyond the notion that we're both here as equal contributors to the raising of this child. The shift from focusing on parenting to focusing on helping that pregnant person to navigate the pregnancy process, to navigate the delivery process. There's almost an element of advocacy in there, because when I think of doulas, I think of them as birth advocates. Does that element make its way into the instruction for the men as well, or are they more in an emotional support, or how are they trained to prepare to do the advocacy work that sometimes doulas have to engage in?
Yeah, so Kyra, who's our main facilitator, and Charity, our co-facilitator, they'll tell you that's my favorite part of this. It's week 4 when we talk about partnership advocacy. We Charity works within the hospital system every day, so she's helping me in understanding how to navigate those hospital systems, because oftentimes you have black men that become assertive in stepping up for their partner, and that's looked at being aggressive and
Yeah.
combative and all these different things. So then they're kicked out the room. They're eventually kicked out the hospital, and now they're not able to be at that birth and be that
Mm.
advocate. So we help men understand how to navigate these things to where they understand that you are there and you are present 100%, but also make sure that they don't do things that will make them become absent to it because of the stigmas and the fears that these people associate with the black man having a voice in those rooms.